Today we're looking at Math Chapter 11, Geometry and Fractions. We're focusing in on Lesson 11.4, Two-Dimensional Shapes. That's a switch, as the first three lessons focused on three-dimensional shapes. So let's take a look. We're going to begin by looking at our Model and Draw page. So go ahead and open up to that page so you can look on and complete those problems with me. Today's I can statement says, I can name shapes just by knowing the number of sides and vertices. Well, let's take a closer look at those vocab words, sides and vertices. The Model and Draw says, you can count sides and vertices to name two-dimensional shapes. Look at how many sides and vertices each shape has. They started with a triangle, and they did a nice job labeling their diagram of a triangle, showing you where there's a side and a vertex. When we're talking about one vertex, that's the singular form. If there's more than one, we say vertices. So if we look at a triangle, I can count 3 sides and 3 vertices. A vertex is where 2 sides come together to make a point or a corner. Let's take a closer look at the other shapes. We have a quadrilateral, pentagon, and hexagon. The first thing we're going to do is count the sides for each of these shapes. And we're also going to show that we can identify each of the sides by drawing a little dash mark. Just like this. So looking at my quadrilaterals, go ahead and make your dash mark on each side, and you'll see that quadrilaterals have 4 sides. Pentagons, after I identified each of the sides by drawing a dash mark, each of them have 5 sides. And hexagons, I drew a little dash mark again for each of my sides, and I found out that a hexagon has 6 sides. Go ahead and take a moment, fill in your dash marks and the number of sides for each of those shapes. Remember, you can pause this video at any point that you need to so that you can catch up. Now, let's take a look at the number of vertices each of these shapes has. We're going to identify the vertices by drawing a circle around each of them, just like this. So looking at my quadrilaterals, I went through and I circled each of the vertices and found that there are 4 vertices for each quadrilateral. On my pentagons, there are 5 vertices, and on my hexagons, there are 6 vertices. Go ahead and identify each of the vertices on those shapes by circling them, and then fill in the number of vertices for each. So now that I've looked at my model and draw closely, I know that all shapes that have 3 sides and 3 vertices are called triangles. All sides with 4 sides, and all shapes with 4 sides and 4 vertices are called quadrilaterals. Though we do know some names of some special quadrilaterals, like a square or a rectangle, a trapezoid, a parallelogram, or a rhombus. All shapes that have 5 sides or 5 vertices are called pentagons, and all shapes with 6 sides or 6 vertices are called hexagons. Do you notice a pattern? However many sides a shape has is the same number of vertices it will have. All right, let's take a look at your listen and draw. It says we need to use a ruler, so if you don't have your ruler handy, go grab it. We're going to draw a shape with 3 straight sides, and then draw a shape with 4 straight sides. Well, there's plenty of room on this listen and draw, so if you want to draw more than one example, that'd be great. Looking at my first example, I drew a shape that had 3 straight sides. It's a triangle. And looking at my bottom example, I drew a shape that has 4 straight sides. All shapes that have 4 sides are called quadrilaterals. Do you know the name of my special quadrilateral that I drew? That's a parallelogram. Again, go ahead and pause if you need more time to draw your shapes. Let's take a look at the share and show. Our directions say to write the number of sides and the number of vertices. So just like we practiced on the model and draw, we're going to identify the sides by putting a little dash mark, just like this. So on a triangle, there are 1, 2, 3 sides. Then I can go ahead and circle each of the vertices on my triangle as well. And I can show that I know there are 3 vertices on the triangle. Let's look at number 2. We have a hexagon. Same steps as the first problem. Let's go ahead and label each of the sides or identify the sides by putting a dash mark on them. And I found that there are 6 sides. And now I can go ahead and circle each of the vertices. And let's look at the last problem on this page, a pentagon. Again, the first thing I'm going to do, go ahead and put a dash mark on each of the sides. Just like this. Count them up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I can go ahead and circle each of my vertices. Be careful, don't miss that one in the middle. Remember, a vertex is where 2 sides come together to make a point. So there's 5 sides and 5 vertices on this pentagon. All right, I think you're ready for the on your own section. The directions say to write the number of sides and the number of vertices, then write the name of the shape. So we have 3 different things we need to do here. Find the number of sides, the number of vertices, and write the name of the shape. In that green box, they did give me a word bank, so there is no reason to spell any of the shape names wrong. So take your time with your spelling. Go ahead after I say pause, hit pause, and fill in the answers for numbers 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. When you're ready, hit play again and you can check your work over with my answers. Make sure that you put the dash marks for the sides and make sure that you circle your vertices. Okay, go ahead, hit pause right now. Okay, you should have just hit play. I'm going to show you the answers and I want you to take a moment to check them over. Double check that you made a dash mark for each of your sides and you circled each of the vertices. Powering off. If you need more time, hit pause again so that you can check your work over. Let's take a look at the bottom of the on your own section. It says we need to draw more sides to make the shape. Well, the first shape they wanted us to draw is a pentagon. And I know, or I can look back at my model and draw if I don't, or my share and show, and I know that a pentagon has 5 sides. This shape only has 3 sides right now, which means I need to add 2 more sides. So I don't want to close the shape right away. So my first side that I'm going to draw, and again, I used my ruler to make sure that I had nice straight sides, so make sure you do the same. I'm going to add 1 side. Now I'm up to 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, a pentagon has 5 sides, so now I can just close the shape by adding 1 more side, and I have a 5-sided pentagon. All right, let's try that with the next one. Oops. This time I have a quadrilateral. A quadrilateral has 4 sides, but in my first step, I only have 2 of them already drawn. So again, I don't want to close that shape up yet because I know I need 2 more sides. So you'll see I added a side going down, and then I closed it up for that 4th side to make my quadrilateral. Make sure you're using your ruler so those lines are nice and straight. All right, let's look at the last one on this page, a hexagon. Oh boy, the most challenging. All right, do you remember how many sides a hexagon has? I hope you said 6. So a hexagon has 6 sides. This shape only has 3 sides right now. I can see them. 1, 2, 3. That means I need to add 3 more sides. So watch as I do that one step at a time. Added one side, so now I'm up to 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. Go ahead and add that to your picture. If I'm at 4, I can't close it yet. I can't connect those two last dots. I need 2 more sides still. So here's my next side. Now I'm up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. And now I can close it. And I have 6 sides for my hexagon. That's a little challenging, so take your time. All right, let's move on to the problem solving. Oh boy, starting off with a think smarter question. It says solve, draw, or write to explain. Alex draws a hexagon and 2 pentagons. How many sides does Alex draw altogether? That key word in the question, altogether, tells me we're going to be adding something. Now, there's 2 ways I could do this. I could draw each of those shapes, a hexagon and 2 different pentagons, or if I know how many sides each of those has, I can create an addition sentence to help me solve this. I know that I'd have 1 hexagon and 2 pentagons. So that's like adding up a hexagon plus a pentagon plus another pentagon. So it's like H plus P plus B. And then I just got to know how many sides each of those shapes has. Well, how many sides does a hexagon have? 6. How many sides does a pentagon have? If you're not sure, you better look back. 5. So my number sentence would actually be 6 plus 5 plus 5. That's all of the sides in each of those shapes. And when I add them together, I'll find my answer. Go ahead and add up that addition sentence. What did you get? I hope you're adding that double 5 plus 5 up and then adding 6 to it. Because I know 5 plus 5 is 10 and 6 more is 16. All right, next problem. Ed draws a shape that has 4 sides. Hey, didn't we just learn 4-sided shapes are called quadrilaterals? It is not a square. It is not a rectangle. Draw a shape that could be Ed's shape. All right, so I have to draw a 4-sided shape, and it cannot be a square, and it cannot be a rectangle. Do you know any other 4-sided shapes that are quadrilaterals? Well, all 4-sided shapes are quadrilaterals, but do you know any others besides a square or a rectangle that you might draw? Here's a few examples that you could use. I have a rhombus and a trapezoid. Go ahead and draw one on your paper. Again, you can use that ruler if you want those nice straight edges. Sides. All right, let's take a look at the last problem. Oh, another thing smarter. Holy cow. Count the sides and vertices of each 2-dimensional shape. Draw each shape where it belongs in the chart. All right, well, let's look at my headings first on this chart. We're going to be sorting these shapes by, looks like the number of sides and vertices. We have quadrilaterals, hexagons, and triangles here. Well, so I don't forget, I'm going to write above quadrilateral 4 because that's how many sides and vertices it has. And above the hexagon, I'm going to write a 6 to remind me how many sides and vertices it has. And above the triangle, I'm going to write 3. All right, now I want you to take a moment. I'll wait. Go through and label the sides on each of these shapes. Okay? Make your little dash mark on each one, and then we'll be able to figure out quickly where it goes. Go ahead, I'll give you a moment to do that. Take your time, don't miss any of the sides. All right, so that first shape has 3 sides, so it would be a triangle. The next shape has 6 sides, so that is a hexagon. Then we have another 3-sided shape, that's a triangle. Next, we have a 4-sided shape, that's a quadrilateral. Then another 4-sided shape, another quadrilateral. And then the last one has 6 sides, which makes it a hexagon. Now you need to go ahead, make sure you've shown all your work, and draw as carefully as you can each of those shapes under the correct heading. I'll leave this up for a moment so that you can look at mine and double check your work. All right, if you've completed that last problem, you're ready for the homework. You guys have been doing such an amazing job, and I've been so impressed. Keep it up, okay?